Randall Curtis. I'm with Dynamic Civil Solutions. I'm a civil engineer.
Randall Curtis?
Rundle with a U.
Rundle.
Rundell.
Okay.
That all the time.
I'm sure you did, because I would have pronounced it Rundell, so you would have been still out on
My
luck.
sister still does that.
Okay, Mr. Curtis, I'm sorry for the
No.
interruption.
Yes, so, now, these are the townhouse elevations that are on the lots, these lots.
No.
Okay, yeah, so these are the townhomes here. Okay. And, okay, yeah, located here. And elevations for the cottages located in the interior. That's, I think, your lots 200, 260.
It'll be, there's your map, I can tell you. So 261st Street.
Mhm.
And
216, 200.
Mhm.
right,
Yeah.
Ours is 6,004.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so where are the single-family homes?
There's only one.
so my name's Joe Ayers. I'm with the Woodlawn Foundation. So we're helping to do this development along with other partners. The single-family house is over in the corner where the 6032 lot is. So if you look at the map that shows the addresses, 6032.
Okay, so that's this one right here. This is a
Right.
single-family home.
So this is the single-family home.
So you would not need to rezone that
Not
because it's
necessarily.
single-family.
That's right.
That's correct.
That's
Okay.
right. And then, and to be honest with you, 132 does not have to be rezoned as well. But we do need 200 and 216 because it's part of the development.
And our access as well.
Yeah, so 216 is part of the access road, and this went through engineering, basically. Fire truck needs access to get in, turn around and come out, and they've gone over and over again trying to figure out the best way to do it, and this is what they came up with, and engineering was okay with it. And then 200 sits on the other side here, which that's part of the actual development, the apartment development. And just to give you a little bit more background, if you want to hear it, on the apartment development, it's, it's, the goal is to create or promote the creation of affordability. So the apartments are targeted at 30 and below AMI. And the townhomes are for purchase, and they are targeted at 80% and below AMI. So this development sits just south of the park at Wood Station. If you're familiar with the park at Wood Station, which was done back in 2015, 64 units that sit here. And of course, it's not on here, but in this location of the in proximity to this development, and just right down the street from a market rate development, about a block away from a market rate development.
And what is on that piece of property that's not part of your development?
That's a single-family home.
It actually is there.
It's still there, yes.
Have you visited with them?
Not recently. So this person is sort of transitional. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. But it's a family-owned home that the daughter lives in periodically.
Is that 208 61st Street?
That's right. But what's going on with this? It's part of a plan that we're attempting to do 50 units coming from 59th Place. For those of you who are familiar, it's the cul-de-sac in Woodlawn. It's kind of popular. So we're starting there, and this is just one phase of development that will eventually, over the next year and a half, will tie into that with other townhomes along Georgia Road. And those will be for market rate.
Question for the staff. So the real change in zoning that is being sought would be for lots 200 and 216, is that correct?
And 132 and 6032 are part of the request, even though they could remain the same and the use would still be allowed. Those are the two that ZAC recommended not be rezoned. And a single-family home would be allowed in what is R4 now. And then 132 is proposed to be vacant, so that would be okay for what it is now.
So I'm just trying to get to the point to make the project work. You have to have 200 and 216 rezoned
Yes.
to make the project work.
That's right.
Everything else can potentially work as it is currently. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Are these lots all currently vacant?
Right. There's the only structure on this lot now is that house.
That is intermittently lived in?
Correct.
Well, it's not part of your proposal anyway. The private road that is adjacent to the single-family lot of number 132,
Yes.
what is that? What is that? It says there's an easement there. Is that a city alley or is that a new?
It used to be an alley that it was a vacated alley. It was vacated back when the Parkwood station was built.
Okay, so who does it belong to now?
It's part of the project.
It's part of your project.
Right. And we own that 132 lot as well. So the lot that's just across from it, the Woodlawn Foundation owns that lot as well.
Okay.
But we need that basically for access to the.
Well, yeah, these guys will have
Yeah.
to, and these are exceedingly narrow streets in South Woodlawn. So you wouldn't want people parking on them. Question about the private road and all the private roads.
And Counselor Abbott, when they go through the subdivision process, our subdivision regulations require that private roads be built to the same requirements as city streets would. So without a waiver from the traffic engineer or from the city engineer, these private roads would have to be built to the same configuration as if they were public.
Okay, well, that's good because we don't have very high standards, but private developers can often have ones that are even lower than ours. But my question is, when people park all over this private road and there's a fire truck that needs to get in, will the fire truck still be able to get in? It says they're 24 feet wide. Are you, if you have parking on both sides,
We have driveways as well for each of the units.
well, yeah, but that doesn't matter because people have 3 or 4 or 5 cars and all their visitors and people that are staying with them and, all that stuff. So if you have people parked on that private road on both sides, can a fire truck still get through?
I don't know the answer to that, but I would say probably not.
Because reality is that people are going to just park all over everywhere.
Well, we can put signage up I mean, people will do that, but we can put signage up saying that there's no parking on this road.
And the people who are your target audience for this are people of low income. Are you looking at families, at seniors, at just anybody who comes by who qualifies financially?
So no, for the apartments, it's gonna be 30 and below AMI. So people who meet that criteria, and actually veterans as well. And then for the other, it's gonna be, so the partnership is with the Housing Authority, NCRC, Alabama Power, and the Woodlawn Foundation. So part of it is the home ownership program through the Housing Authority is who they're attempting to sell these units to.
And you said the Housing Authority and Alabama Power and
National Community Reinvestment Coalition.
okay, NCRC.
And Woodlawn Foundation.
Well, South Woodlawn used to be in my district, and now is it in your district or is it in Mr. Parker's district?
Council Parker's district.
Yeah, and it, from the first time that I ran for office to the last time, a lot of houses disappeared, a lot of apartments disappeared, a lot of everything disappeared. So, knowing that the neighborhood association is in favor of this, and knowing how hard they've tried to save their neighborhood, if they're in favor of it, I'm going to go along. But I'm in agreement that lot 6032 and 132, they don't need to be rezoned because they can have a single-family home on them and actually fit right in. In fact, 132 had a house on it, and then slowly, as years passed, a hole developed in the roof, and the house caved in. It was a nice house, but holes in the roof. Anyway, so those are just my thoughts as I look at this.
Council? I was gonna see if I could ask a question. Did you guys look at the cottage subdivision idea in the ordinance that's available?
I'm sorry?
The cottage subdivision?
The cottage subdivision.
It's a section in our ordinance.
I think we suggested it the first time we met with Balaji.
I mean, potentially, you wouldn't have to do any with the cottage subdivision. Something to think about. But then also, I'm curious about, because this deviates from the original Woodlawn plan a little bit, in the zoning particularly. And you're saying you want to do 50 more units or 50 units?
No, so basically, there's going to be a total of about 50, which includes this.
Right,
So
so
it's-
you're planning on doing around 50 units in the area eventually.
Right.
And so I'm curious if, they would fit in, or if there are going to be other needs to change zoning. Have you looked at that?
They fit into the
The original Woodlawn plan
recommended framework plan, the zoning that is going through.
that we
the
talked
framework.
about through
Right,
there? Okay.
right.
Okay. But it might be worth looking at the cottage subdivision. I think that would fit the cottage subdivision model. You wouldn't even have to rezone.
And the,
And those are already
Townhouse.
zoned R5. You don't have any problem with those.
well, this doesn't fit the same lots. that-
Okay, the other thing that's.
You'd have to re-subdivide and go through all that process.
But the thing, okay, so the reason this needs to go in one lot, because I'm not really sure what you're saying, the cottage subdivision.
They'd
But-
be individual
You can-
lots.
Okay, the reason why that can't happen is because there's funding that we're receiving from Alabama Housing
Oh, okay.
Finance that's tied to all these needing to be part of one development.
Well, it would be one development. But anyway, you could look at it if you want.
So you're saying because the cottages would be individually owned, that would interfere with the way the financing is gonna work out?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, it wouldn't necessarily have to be individually owned. But once again, you can look at it if you want.
Okay.
Any other questions? for a motion?
Motion to recommend approval.
With the elimination of 132 and 6032 from the plan and remaining as single family? Or,
Correct.
okay. So the motion has been made, I will second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we'll recommend it to the council minus those two lots.
This one, and this one.
Yep.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.